My name is Tanya Curry, and this is this week's Acumen Media Report. It's entitled, Talking About a Revolution, More Like a Whisper. This week's news was short and bitter. If I had to write a fairy tale instead of scratching the surface with you, it would read something like this. Julius Malema was taken away by the ugly fairy and everyone lived happily ever after. The end. But this is no fairy tale, nor is this Wonderland. This is our beautiful corner of paradise, and according to some, there is a survey that says 80% of South Africans want the same thing. But we're ruled by tweedle-dee, tweedle-dumb, and tweedled-dumber. There's only one story that dominated headlines all week, and that was the Red Mafia called the EFF. The EFF march, referred to as the national shutdown, is scheduled for Monday. They've spent a great deal of money on publicity, and Julius has told us all that it will be a peaceful protest. He also said that if someone comes at them, to come at them with twice the strength. He said because if anyone challenges the EFF march, then they must kiss their families goodbye before they leave home. He said that Fidelity or SAPS mustn't even attempt to stop him and his fighters at their peaceful march. He spoke about looting and started vociferating that if businesses were open, they would be looted, but then told everyone not to loot because it's a peaceful protest. The contradiction in his narrative is typical of Julius 2.0 in his struggle for the presidential power. The clever acumen machine shows almost 300,000 people engaged in this story with a negative net sentiment of almost 65%. We are not happy. National shutdown? Meh. The billboards went up everywhere, so much money for marketing, but nothing for the poor gogos who lost everything during the VBS heist, which, incidentally, has been proven in court now, and Pink Floyd Shabambu has to cough up. Julius called this march a revolution, and then sneaked in the question, what if this march doesn't stop and it continues? What if this is the beninging of a revolution?
Yeah, in the
Listen properly.
in the beninging, yeah, in the beninging.
Sounds like a careless whisper to me. Don't you know that we are tired of your hot air, Julius? Don't you know that we are already in a silent revolution? We are doing it ourselves. We are done with politics and electioneering. Even the taxi said we're out, which pretty much means your daydream is over, Juju. Both Minister of Alles, Fikile Mbalula, and Leave Your Hat on Clearlet told the EFF to footsack. The DA did the paperwork for an interdict. Us? Well, we're just here with our silent revolution. 80% of us are on the same page. 80%. Why do we have no one to vote for? I'll tell you why. Because everything you see here is deliberate. We are a dumbed down electorate, and a little like education during apartheid, we are left with no options. We only see what we are taught. The thing is, this is one strong and resilient nation. They think we're stupid, but they haven't realized that we don't believe in fairy tales anymore. Yes, Ramaphosa is a sloth, but we're not going to replace him with a set of thugs that have already shown their dastardly intention. It is extraordinary that out of 60 million people, we cannot find one soul to lead us. You think that's possible? No ways. That, my friends, is orchestrated. Imagine all the people get up and go to work on Monday. Wouldn't the look on King Julius's face be simply priceless like a MasterCard advert? Pretty please, with red cherries on top. Let that be our happily ever after moment. Just a moment, obviously. I'd do a little dance and everything. I'd click my heels and say, there's no place like home. Right. I've given that chop enough of my time. What else? Well, Madam Busi Makwabane, the public neglector, took to the witness stand this week, and you won't believe it. Well, you will. She compared herself to Mama Winnie. This woman and Dolly and Porfu turned up in traditional garb. No time to prepare witnesses, but always time to coordinate wardrobes, it seems. And just when you thought she couldn't infuriate me more, Boosie told us how she is a superhero of South Africa, and her struggle is comparative to that of Mama Winnie. How dare she? How very dare you, Boosie? How dare you have the audacity to compare your tyranny to the struggle of the one person who actually fought for freedom in this country? Mama Winnie must be spitting down on you, madam, because one thing Winnie Mandela stood for was truth, and she loved her country. She gave her life for this country. The audacity of you. Zak, Boosie, take your pretty beads and enjoy your perjury court case today. Boosie told us more than once that Donnie was working pro bono for the new court battle, as the Public Protector's Office was now bankrupt with the legal fees from the 194 inquiry. And whose fault is that? Alice in Wonderland? Don't lament to us, madam. We're busy working on our silent revolution, and it's more than a whisper. Then followed that farce of Bongani Baloyi with his in-out paperwork all about dance with liquidation and rehabilitation papers that were falsified so badly that the paperwork looked like a 3-year-old had got hold of it. Action SA, the clue is in the name, acted and hoofed his fraudulent paperwork out the door. Then Malapo was also expelled. This political infighting means nothing to us. When you said Action SA, we thought action, not reaction. Off you go, ex-actioners. Go to La La Land. Join the Muppets or the circus. Both are suitable. We'll just watch, shake our heads, and keep that action for ourselves, silently, but with intent. Talking about exits, there were some unceremonious ones this week. Lindiwe Medusa head Sisulu finally left, and she was followed by Nathi and Tetwa and others as they resigned from the ANC. But as slow and as painful as it was action in South Africa. Zandile Skanke Gumede, the woman who looted KZN, was in court all week, and we were not allowed to watch. I think it's ridiculous that we have not been allowed in the public courtrooms of both the Nulene Gupta case and the Gumede family trial. All are in public interest, so what is the judiciary afraid of? It's not like Zondo and his team got death threats. Well, they did, but they were brave. Be brave. Stop shutting us out. We are justice hungry, and you are reducing these stories to page 13 of the newspapers and once again leaving us to protest in silence. I'm going to wrap this up because this report is depressing me. I had 2 teeth removed in the chair this week, and it's less painful than this report. So, for the crunch, deep breath, let's scratch the rest. The strikes we spoke about last week have both abated. Wits protest is in mediation. Why didn't Wits do that from the beginning? Nahawa's strike on hospitals and the sick were interdicted, and the sickos had to go home or back to work if you bought that. There's a new female candidate for the DA, and guess what, guys? It's not Natasha Mazzoni. Maybe they'll read these reports after all. The SABC has been without a board for yonks, and there's no water in Gauteng as they head for day 0 again. Mashatile got shatiled, Zulu for married. Santam bought one of MTN's books for 400 million. Capitec's client base is bigger than the population of Zimbabwe and or the Netherlands. Capitalists doing their thing, and very well. Gloria Bosman, the music icon, died. We were warned of potential food shortages, and someone stole a shed load of Simba chips. Now that's a heist that roars with flavor, not so silent. Across the borders, Cyclone Freddy claimed over 300 lives, and Malawi announces 14 days of mourning. All while the Oscars were playing out on our screen as big dramatic names held little statues above their heads. Oh, and to end, Black China closed her OnlyFans account. I suppose that's your good news. I'm Tonya Curry. I'm taking part in the silent revolution, as should you. Thanks for grimacing through a crazy week with Acumen Media.